What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to Short Prints, our random video about random topics. And this week, we are going to be talking about our favorite YouTube content creators. Joe, kick us off.
All right. So the first one I have is GingerMan. He's a redhead. GingerMan Marvel cards collecting and investing. I'm a big fan of his content because it's a great just resource just in general for Marvel cards. He'll go through, and I know one of EP's kind of does this as well. But he goes through different auctions, and we'll look at top 10 Marvel sales of the week, or let's do a preview of Golden Auctions Marvel cards. And he does some other content as well. But for me, I tend to watch him just to kind of get an idea of where the Marvel card market is at that point. And I'm not going to lie, if I'm sorting cards, especially if I'm sorting Marvel, I'll throw him on the computer and I'll listen to him very, very Britishly talk about Marvel cards and how PMGs are doing and some of his favorite characters and things like that. So it's a really cool, just normal guy who likes Marvel cards. He collects Storm, by the way, in his PC.
Oh, cool.
And he talks about those cards in such I wish I had the money for this card, or this card went higher than I thought. If I knew it was going to go, a little bit lower, maybe I would have thrown a bid on. So it's very it's not like a guy who has a ton of money who can just throw it at the hobby. He's looking at these cards as we would on some of these auction sites.
Great. Sounds really cool. All right, EP, you're number 3.
Well, my number 3 is Slab Stocks, and they're made for YouTube. They're on YouTube, but I would say that a lot of their stuff that I listen to is on a podcast. So they're digestible in both forms. But they have a couple different hosts, two main hosts, and they do a lot of baseball, football, basketball. They do a lot of stuff, even soccer and everything. But they do one baseball podcast each week that's just specifically for baseball, which is that's going to be a theme for some of my stuff. And just it's at that time of year. So, but their stuff is they're just the two main hosts are just two friends that just kind of talk to each other and just talk about their collecting choices. They do a show where they go into a big auction site and figure out what they're going to buy, for as part of the channel, and it's just a fun listen. Mostly a podcast for me, but they're built for YouTube, but they work both ways.
Very cool.
Don't we do that, Mike?
I think we do.
I believe
yes.
you can find us on iTunes as well.
Yeah. And the thing is, we play even better because we play even better, I think, on podcasts, on Apple Podcasts. So
I think we do too. Yeah. Check us out. Watch the video here, and then go listen to it there.
And leave 5 stars there, and like and follow here, like and subscribe here. I mean,
yes. Not that we're promoting anything. Yeah. All right. My first, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name is PacMan. Yeah, we all know PacMan. We all love PacMan. I mean, I can't relate to all the products he opens. He opens so much. A lot of basketball that I'm not terribly into, but man, first of all, he gets to open everything, and how fun is that? And boy, what was it? National Treasures basketball or something that he opened up a box, and it was terrible, but he still had a good attitude about it. He's fun to watch. He just doesn't really, where we would be yelling and crying about something, he keeps a positive attitude and really makes it fun to watch the video. You feel like you're hanging out with a friend, even though he has a really big channel. Obviously,
huge
pretty much
channel,
everybody knows about him. He might be the biggest pack opening guy and box opener on YouTube, but I mean, I still feel like he's genuine in his love of what he's opening, his excitement and disappointment, whereas you have some other content creators that they come across as really fake. Let's be real. Some of them are just not really sincere. I believe he really is. And I think that's part of the charm in watching him open up packs.
The one thing about PacMan I will say is he's a little too chipper for me. He's
I know, get mad.
And,
really,
horrible. Dude, that is rough.
He can find the silver lining in the worst
He can, which is a good juxtaposition of my next one. And you guys might not have heard of it. It might be considered controversial. I really don't know. But Sports Card Radio, it's a brother team. They don't generally do podcasts like this. It's just they'll pick up their phone as they're playing golf or something and kind of rant a little bit about the hobby. They're the ones who I think that Sports Card Investor, sorry if I'm stepping on either one of your next choices, but Sports Card Investor will subtweet them a little bit, like talk about the hobby should be nothing but positive and no one should talk negatively about the hobby. It feels like he was talking a little bit about them. And I will say, while I think the hobby, there's a lot of positive things, we shouldn't just gloss over some of the controversy that does happen. Trimming scandals, pump and dumps, just scammers, just general scammers. And they shine a light on that. And I don't agree with everything they say. And I don't agree, probably with their politics and things like that. But just in general, the way they shine a light on some of the crap that can happen in the hobby that's been going on for decades, honestly.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing to have someone a little bit more honest, I think, maybe to a fault, a little bit more honest about what's going on in the hobby sometimes, instead of just sunshine and rainbows all the time, because we all know it's not always sunshine and rainbows.
All right, EP.
My second one is RyDog54. His YouTube, the Slab Stocks, the previous YouTube, they had like 15K subscribers. RyDog has like 9,000, but he's an all baseball guy, and he does like mail days. But his biggest thing is he does a lot of prospecting, where he'll talk about these like deep minors players and what they're doing. Like he has like a report he does every week about these players, and it's really he's a big card guy, but he's I think maybe even a bigger baseball guy, which is just fun for me to watch and to listen to him talk about the really fun prospects and everything going on. Like there was, I want to say like the first week of the season, there were just a whole bunch of shortstops that were just going, but shortstop is like the position that you want to have big, and they were just going off. And so to hear him talk about it, it's just a lot of fun.
Sounds like a channel I could watch and learn a little bit more about baseball. So I don't have to ask you to open my boxes of Bowman for me. All right.
He's like, no, don't watch it. I want to open up your box.
Yes.
My number 2 is another really big channel called Alpha Investments. It's Rudy. The guy's name's Rudy. Rudy is a fun guy to watch. And he, a lot of his magic card related, Pokemon, other alternative card games, different things. But, he has a really good perspective on it. Like he brings a lot of information to you, business type stuff, and talking about investments, and you can, even though he's talking about gaming cards, you can apply a lot of the principles he's talking about and the things he's putting out there to anything, like be it a regular business, other sports cards, whatever you want to do. But yeah, he does it, and he does it in a highly entertaining fashion. That's what I like about it. Like he's just one of those guys, you start watching the video, and even if you're not terribly interested in the topic, you find yourself 10 minutes later still watching the video because he's entertaining. Like his delivery, he looked like just a guy. Like he's a pretty big content creator, so he's obviously not just a guy, but that's the appeal of his videos to me.
And that's a big takeaway for some of the stuff I listen to. Like, I'm a big fan of the Bill Simmons podcast. I don't care about 90% of the topics he talks about. I don't care about basketball. I don't care about baseball. And he's big into both. But he's just an entertaining host, and he can kind of reel you in. So any YouTube content like that, where you're not exactly like just super turned on by the topic, but you have someone entertaining kind of guiding you through it, that's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, when as you were talking, Mike, I looked it up. I had to type it in and look it up because when you texted me the name, it didn't really hit me. But when you said it out loud, I typed it up and I recognized the guy immediately because he's popped up on my front page a couple times. So yeah, he's entertaining, good stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get to our number 1s here. We're gonna spend a little bit more time talking about them, but Joe, you can go ahead.
All right, let's do the honorable mention first for
Okay.
a small channel. So my honorable mention only has 88 subscribers. I was intentionally looking for people with less than us because that'd be embarrassing. And it's Bay Area Marvel Cards. So they haven't posted a ton. They're a new-ish channel, probably only a few, probably three. Actually, I'm looking now, 3 or 4 months old at this point. But they do a lot of like Marvel content where they're, ripping repacks or they're sending stuff to PSA. And it's a lot of the Marvel sets I'm not really terribly interested in myself, but kind of like your last one, Mike, they are very excited. They're just the way they talk. It just, they can kind of reel you in a little bit. And it kind of actually reminded me, a lot of their stuff reminded me of EP's jubilation when he did his first PSA reveal. They get really excited about certain cards, really excited about certain grades. It seemed very genuine. So I subscribed to them recently. Like I said, they've only been going at it for about 3 or 4 months. But my number one, it's going to surprise you guys. Hello. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. I wanted to do all the ones we don't like, all the ones that we don't like, their intros, kind of like when the Rock was doing different impressions of some other wrestlers back in the 90s, just to screw with you guys. But no, my first one, if you don't know, it's kind of shocking. You must not have watched a lot of our content, because I think I reference this guy pretty much every other video. Nolan Klein over at Alico 3. One of the best decisions I've ever made in cards in the last 2 years or so has been subscribing to Alico 3's channel. First off, he plays in the same sandbox that we do. He's looking at, mid to late 90s, early 2000s cards, a lot of football, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Randy Moss. He has his favorites for sure, right in our wheelhouse. And he's very upfront about the cards, his card specifically. Hey, I don't think this should have been a 9, so this one's going to get sold. Or this one I think is higher than an 8. I'm going to crack it and send it back in. He's very upfront with his process. He has a huge eBay store too. I mean, definitely. What is it? KC Futures, I believe, is his eBay name. But he has a ton of his of the stuff. The cool thing about him is that when he sends cards off to get graded, he will pull the ones that he likes the most and put them in his personal collection. And sometimes he'll do videos showing off that personal collection, his favorite Tom Brady rookie cards or his favorite cards from 2004 or whatever. He'll do videos like that. It's just, and he's very matter of fact. You can tell he's not trying to get viewers. He's not saying, hey, here's a contest or, subscribe and like, he doesn't have this big intro or outro. It's just, all right, I'm done. And then he turns the camera off. It's just, it's just almost like hanging out with a friend, and he's just showing you his cards. I've always been a fan of those. And I will say that that's probably the video I will put on the most if I am sorting cards, if I'm listing stuff on eBay. It's just very soothing voice too. Just calm. And the ones I like the most is though when he will get really feisty about the grades and be like, all right, that's not a 7. That's way better than a 7. I got to spin the wheel at PSA, spin the wheel. And he'll be really upfront about him. So I'm sure you guys can talk about him a little bit too. I've waxed poetic about Alico 3 quite a bit over the last few months.
Yeah, I'll add to that. What I like about him is he knows what he's talking about. Like, if you want to learn about grading cards, if you're not sure, like, what to look for, what to do, watch his videos. Like, he's not trying to hide anything from anybody. He knows probably better than most of the people that are grading at the company is what the cards are and why they should be. And he goes through a lot of that in his videos, and you can really learn a lot from a guy like that because he has a lot of experience doing it. And instead of watching videos of people that you don't really know what their motives are, watch him, like, learn what to look for. Just he has really cool stuff. He has really good knowledge, and that's what I like about it. All right, EP, you're number one.
Well, first my honorable mention is the Dollar Box, and it's a they have like 1,000 subscribers, so more than us. But I mean, it's one it's one host, and they've recently built up quite a few subscribers. They've been building a lot of momentum. What really got me about the Dollar Box is host goes to shows. He's mostly just a Green Bay Packers Brett Favre seller. Like it's pretty much just the one player. He's got a couple other players, but pretty much just Brett Favre. But the one thing that he did, he went to a show. His daughter had started collecting Pokemon cards, and one of the dealers at the show said, "Hey, I saw one of your videos," and gave him some Pokemon cards for his daughter. He then put his daughter on the video, and his daughter thanked everybody. Like, it was just a really fun thing. And it's like, okay, I'm subscribing to this. I'm liking this video. I'm subscribing right now. Just like it was a fun, just a really captured a good moment, good genuine moment, which I like. And that kind of and also the Elite Code conversation kind of ties into my number one, who is baseball card collector, investor, dealer, Chris Sewell, and
in that order.
In that order, every time in that order, and I love that. And the thing is, like Joe, I've never gone back and watched his old stuff, but I'm guessing all of his old stuff kind of holds up because he tells stories about buying collections and it goes through the entire process. Like there's no like he just completely pulls the curtain aside and says, this is what I paid for it. This is why I paid for what I paid for. This is these are the cards that I thought I'd make money on, and just goes through all of it, and also has some fun stories. And I enjoy his content a lot. That's my number one for sure.
And
I love his microphone. I mean, the microphone is iconic. Like it's his thing. Yeah. And but I like him a lot because having been a dealer and having a shop myself, I understand a lot of the stuff when he's talking about when you're buying a collection, like how he decides what he's going to pay for it and stuff like that. I did that for a long time, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I was doing. So it's really cool. Like he's so relatable to me, having owned a card shop for a while, like I did. And, he's just a guy. Like he could be any genuine, card shop you walk into. He could be the guy behind the counter there. And that's what I like about him. Very sincere. And, he's kind of original on YouTube. Like not a lot of people out there that are just that real.
Well, and some of the things they do, like some of the things he does when he's editing, is he'll cut in photos of himself, like sorting cards on his living room floor. You know what I mean? Just like wearing a baseball cap, just sitting there, just sorting through cards. And I love that. He's one of us, obviously.
He's very relatable.
Yeah. And I still have a ton of my own cards that I need to, figure out what I'm doing with what I'm going to keep, what I'm going to sell. But I aspire to at some point buy like at least a mini collection just to kind of go through it, because I think that would be a lot of fun for somebody like me. I like to see all different kinds of cards, different sports, and he deals in all kinds of cards. So,
yeah, the one of the reasons that I picked GingerMan is because he kind of reminded me of baseball collector. Wait, hold on.
Baseball card collector, investor, dealer. Yeah,
I always screw that up. But
you have to know the right order too.
I know it's collector is number one. But because he does a lot of the same type of, here are the top 10 big boy sales or whatever he calls them. Here are the top 10, high rollers, high rollers sales. I really like that because medium rollers, normal people sales, because you can tell he's looking at them like we are, like, that'd be awesome to have that card. I can't afford it, but it's cool to look at what they go for and things like that. And we're not guys who are going to go scroll through golden auctions and just do that. I mean, so it's fun.
You're not buying the triple logo man?
No triple logo man for me. I mean, it's definitely worth the money though. But he goes through those types of sales, and you kind of get to see cards that you normally don't see, especially in your collection. You're never going to have those in your collection. I will say that is the difference between him and like Alico. Alico has money, right? Because his collection is ridiculous. And you did make a point about how he goes through collections. As soon as I saw the first video of that he did where he did the breakdown, I'm like, that's what Mike probably did. That's kind of how Mike probably did this. And it made me think of how Mike probably handled stuff in the shop, because he did break it down so well. And I think he even made a comment, I probably shouldn't be saying this,
All right. Well, my honorable mention, I'm actually going to break the rules a little bit, and I'm going to give you two because I haven't mentioned a wrestling channel. So I'm going to do two. There's one, Wrestling with Cards, and the other is Tweet Wrestling. Check both of these guys out. Wrestling with Cards, that channel has been around for a few years, I believe. And, he does a really good job of pushing wrestling cards, like, and providing information about it. And Tweet Wrestling does the same. He's a British guy. I love the accent. I just I can't stop
Two British
watching.
guys on our list, man.
It's it's so good though. Like the way he talks and the accent is just perfect.
Makes him seem smarter too.
He does a lot of he does a lot of oddball sets that wrestling collectors get, and a little bit into the Hasbro figures and stuff like that too. So check them out if you get the chance. But my number one is the Sports Card Dad. We talk about him quite a bit. He's a fun guy. Like, what I like about him, he also comes off our theme for the day is he's sincere. Like, he's a real guy. I believe he really enjoys the hobby. He doesn't seem to have an agenda that he's trying to push. And oh my God, does he put out the content?
Yeah.
I feel like the guy does 20 videos a day. I might be a little less than that, but yeah, he's working at it and he enjoys it. And, it doesn't seem forced. He covers pretty much anything and everything going on in the hobby. If you want to know what's going on, you could check out his channel and just look through the recent videos and you'll know everything that's going on. Big Saints fan and a Drew Brees fan. He seems to be one of those guys that likes the cards from around the turn of the century, around 2000, like we do. So, we relate on that level a little bit too, but just has great content, delivers it in a fun way. I love he'll cut in little scenes from 80s and 90s video games. Yep. I love that. So yeah, one of my favorites, probably my favorite for sure. I think might be the first one I started watching when I got back into the hobby, and still watching his videos today.
Yeah, he has one of the best backgrounds too. I really like
love
the posters
pictures
on the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, the reason I like him the most is he did comment glowingly on one of our videos.
Well, that's not why he's on the list.
That's not why he's on the list. We can show you text threads where we talk about how great he is from months and months ago. That is, but it's serendipitous that he did right before we had talked about doing this type of podcast a couple of months ago, and it just never really
for a while
materialized. And then he had chimed in on one of our recent pods, and I'm like, well, now we have to do it. Now we have to talk about our favorite content creators. But you're right, Mike, very relatable. And he gives you little snippets, 10-minute clips that just get that information out to you. And when you say, hey guys, do your homework on this topic so we can talk about it during our news hit at the beginning of our main pod, I generally go to his and just kind of get a good background of that topic, so I know what I'm talking about. He's kind of my resource. He's my Wikipedia when it comes to news.
Well, for me, I've said this on the pod before, when I'm done with work at the end of my shift, I have to shut down 1,000 programs and close all the stuff and save the stuff and do a couple other menial things. So I'll throw on YouTube and have something play. And I would say several times a week, that is one that pops up on my front page on YouTube. And I will the sports dad, and I will just listen to his video. And I have to also say that he's the one who another video will show, oh, do you want to watch this one? And I'll be all done. And I'm like, you know what? I'll watch this before I go. And I'll watch another one more.
Just one more.
Just one more. And it's I really I enjoy his stuff. Again, genuine, like so many of our choices in this episode. And
he's not as long-winded as we are. So
no.
He gets the point out there, gets his opinion out there, gets the point across, and moves on. And I think we're going to move on too. So
wow, that was tight, man.
Come on, I'm working on those transitions. Okay. But good chat again, boys. And we'll be back next week with another random topic. Take care, guys.
All right. See you later.